Welcome to RoShamBo, the podcast about unique competitions, extraordinary events, and other amazing adventures. I'm Kim. Ted is traveling right now, but here in our hometown of Atlanta, it is DragonCon weekend, which is one of our favorite weekends of all time. So to celebrate DragonCon weekend, I have compiled a couple of episodes that we did last year from our coverage of DragonCon 2018 to get you excited to get out there and get downtown and experience the beauty and magic and craziness that is DragonCon. This bonus episode is all about something that happens every Labor Day weekend in our hometown, Atlanta, Georgia.
Yep, it's DragonCon, which I refer to as the Super Bowl of fancy dress.
Oh, that's a wonderful explanation.
Yes. For those who know what fancy dress is.
That's right. Fancy dress, by the way, is RoShamBo code for costume and costuming. The Super Bowl of fancy dress DragonCon has been happening every Labor Day weekend in Atlanta since 1987.
Yeah, there's cosplay, there's games, there's a parade, there's stars from your favorite TV and movies.
It's everything sci-fi, popular culture.
Obscure stuff.
It's great. It's great. And a lot of mainstream stuff nowadays, too.
Yep.
It's spread out over some of the prettiest hotels in downtown Atlanta. So basically, once you're in the convention, you can just walk through these sky bridges from one hotel to another and attend conferences and meet celebrities and see amazing people wearing amazing costumes, and they have a ton of competitions that are going on. It's just absolutely joyful.
There's spontaneous dance parties all over the place.
That is so true.
It's crazy.
And these spontaneous dance parties are, of course, like, robots and stuff like that.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles dressed as stormtroopers, dressed as a Run DMC. Yeah.
Perfect. That is exactly what it is. How long have you been going?
I've been going to the parades for a couple of years, but this is my first time actually going to attend things.
The full conference?
Yeah.
So one of the main aspects of DragonCon each year is, aside from over 85,000 attendees purchasing passes to go to this conference, they have a celebration for the whole city and put on an amazing parade. Probably I don't know. Atlanta's got some good parades. We also have the Little 5 Points Halloween Parade.
Right.
But one of the best parades that happens each year.
It's mind-boggling. The costumes, the people, there's like over 100,000 people attend it.
It's really amazing, as someone who's lived in this city for, over 33 years, to go down to an area that's so much a part of my hometown and see it overrun by 85,000 people in amazing costumes. It's like my dream come true.
Right. Walking through that crowd is amazing. You're like, there's a Smurf, there's a wizard, there's a Stormtrooper, there's Harry Potter.
It doesn't end.
Yeah.
So Ted and I went down there this year. We saw so much, it's impossible to share it all with you, but we wanted to put out some of our favorite things that we experienced. And it's loud. There are a lot of people there, so forgive the audio, but hopefully you'll get a good feeling for what DragonCon's all about.
And maybe you want to come next year.
If you guys do decide to look into coming in the future, you can go to their website, which is dragoncon.org, and learn more about it, and maybe even consider right now booking your hotel room for next year.
I think you have to do that early, don't you?
You really, really do.
Enjoy.
Ted and I are here at DragonCon. Our first event is wrestling. Ted, what is going on?
Well, we have a guy in tight purple pants. He's about to throw at another guy. Oh, he flipped him around.
This is amazing. I've never actually seen wrestling before. They are dead on serious.
They really are. They're good, too. They're flying in and out of the ring.
I don't even know how we're going to figure out who the winner is of this. There's multiple people continually getting in the ring. I don't know where it starts and where it ends, but there's also little fights breaking out around the rings. Somebody just got tossed out.
Yeah, there's fights outside of the ring. People are jumping off the top rope outside of the ring, doing flips. Really impressive.
There's a lot of showboating. I'm sure everyone else knew this, but this is news to me.
A lot of posturing, a lot of showboating, and, tight pants.
A lot of tight pants.
So the wrestling is awesome and amazing. But also the crowd. You scan around the crowd. Over there's a bunny dressed all in white. There's a Waldo over here. There's a little princess. There's a guy all in checkerboards. and a good-looking Harry Potter just walked by.
So this is going to be the backstory of everything that we do at DragonCon. Is every competition, the entire background is going to be people in costume, because that's what DragonCon's all about. So for something like this, where the wrestlers are usually the most showboaty and fancy dressed people, they're really competing with the audience.
Yeah, they really are. It's pretty awesome.
So Sean Taylor, our associate producer, is here, one of the writers on RoShamBoPodcast.com. What did I just miss?
One of the wrestlers got so excited body slamming all the other wrestlers that he wound up body slamming his tag team partner, and then his handler, and then finally himself.
Did you get a glimpse at how the band is dressed?
They're dressed as the original Star Trek.
Every single one of them.
Well, there's one from engineering and two from medical.
Good job.
You may not have noticed that part.
I did not. I'm impressed.
We need a red shirt to die for us tonight.
There's a red shirt that dies every night, right?
Pretty much, yes. Where are we today?
We're at DragonCon in Atlanta 2018 at the Masquerade Costume Contest preamble.
And is this your first masquerade?
No, it's not. This is actually my third one.
What are you dressed as today?
So what I'm dressed as is I am a Titan from the game Destiny 2, actually.
Okay.
And this armor that I've created is it's the Iron Banner armor for the Titan. It's made out of EVA foam and parts of epoxy sculpt.
And did you create this yourself?
I did, yeah.
And how much time and effort have you put into it?
A lot of time and a lot of effort. I think it's under 200 hours, but right around there, but my wife is shaking her head no, so is my daughter. So they're both saying it took over 200 hours.
Is there anything particular about the costume that you are super proud of?
I'm really just proud of the thing overall, and I'm happy the way it turned out. And it's like when you're putting this sort of stuff together, you're concerned, are all the individual pieces going to actually fit on and make a decent looking costume? And where you're working at a breakneck pace, you don't have a lot of time for fitting, and seeing that. So I was really happy when I finally put it on and saw that it all came together.
Awesome. It looks really great. Do you have to do a routine, or do you just walk out there and
Okay, so the Masquerade, as far as costume contest goes, is kind of unique. What they like is for people to actually have a skit. It's not required. I mean, if you don't want to come up with something, or if you haven't come up with something, for my first 2 years I didn't have a skit. This will be my first year that I actually have a skit.
Okay. And are you nervous about doing a skit for this first time?
No, not really. I think that if it was just me out there, I would be. But I think a lot of the reason that people get into cosplay is they like being something else or becoming something else for a little while. It's kind of like dressing up on Halloween. So when I go out there, it's not really me that's going out there. It's the Guardian. I'll have my helmet on, so, he's got to do the work. I don't.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good luck out there today. I hope you do well. You look fantastic. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right, so tell me who you are and who you're dressed up as.
My name is Erin, and I am dressed as Winifred Sanderson from Hocus Pocus.
I'm Jen Sapp, and I'm dressed as Mary Sanderson from Hocus Pocus.
And my name is Britt, and I'm dressed as Sarah Sanderson from Hocus Pocus.
And you guys were just on stage, and you did amazing. Tell our listeners about how you performed, what you sang.
We sang I Put a Spell on You, the cut from the movie when they're at the Halloween party, and we learned the dance moves and everything, and we had a ton of fun. I had a lot of fun.
Absolutely. So the girls, Britt and Erin, put the choreography together, and they came over to my house, and we moved all the furniture in the living room over. This stage is not the same size as my living room, so that was an experience.
And your dog wasn't watching.
Yes, the dog was not there. Darn.
But a lot of other people were, and it was really well received.
Thank you. Yeah, no, the crowd really made it for us being able to interact with them and have them get in on the chant and everything. That was so fun.
And could you remind me, your costumes are very professional. Do you have a history in costume making?
I do. I am a professional costumer for film and television and theater. And this has kind of been one of my dream characters I've always wanted to do, and it's the 25th anniversary of Hocus Pocus, so we said if we're going to do it, this is the year.
Thank you, ladies, very much. Appreciate it.
So we're here at DragonCon. We're backstage at the costume contest, and we are talking to, for those of you familiar with the second Hellboy movie, The Angel of Death. For those of you not familiar, how would you describe your costume?
It's kind of like skeletal and demon. The wings are about 10 foot tall and about 5 foot wide, with eyeballs all over them. So that's the best way I could do that one.
And what is your name, and how long have you been doing this?
My name's Michelle. No, I've been cosplaying since probably 1999. Like, it's been a long time, but of course then nobody cosplayed. We just kind of dressed up when we could. But I've been more seriously cosplaying probably in the last 5 years. And this costume itself took over 100 hours of work.
We're going to qualify this costume as serious.
Thank you very much. It was one I've always wanted to tackle, and finally just said, you know what, I actually got a chance to meet the whole cast of Hellboy, so I said I'm going to do it for them and make sure I get it done, and I did. So
that is pretty inspiring.
Yeah, it was awesome. Overall, I just love this whole community because we're just all friends, it seems, and it's such a great community to be a part of, and I just love it. So.
Well, good luck. I hope it goes really well.
Thank you very much.
What is your name?
My name's Claire Watkins.
Claire Watkins. And this is your first competition, you said?
My first time doing this particular one.
What is your costume?
I'm Raven from Teen Titans.
Okay. And are you nervous?
Absolutely. Giant man-eating butterflies.
You're going to be great. What happens when you get on stage?
Mostly turn into a different person. Okay. I'm just glad I'm not speaking. If I had to actually speak, I probably would. I would not be doing this.
Do you have to dance? Do you have to do a routine? Is there or do you just show your costume?
Well, that's just it. Apparently, people do that, and I had no idea. So I have nothing planned other than just to walk out and look like broody and angsty, right? Because that's Raven, and hope that my intro at least gets kind of a little giggle. So, all
right, well, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Yep.
So my name's Amanda Summer with my husband John Summer, and we're doing Jack and Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas. Most of those costume we've either handmade of some kind, but the only thing that we didn't handmake was my dress.
It's fantastic.
Jack's head was how many months again?
Several months off and on. Basically started with your old paper mache, and then I started doing a homemade plaster, and I got some nifty electronics on the inside for some fans. Definitely help because it does get pretty sweaty in there. But yeah.
And you have some stilts going on right now. How tall are you?
Very tall. That's a good question. I never really thought to ask it, but
I'm feeling 8 feet tall. Very cool. And you guys have Zero with you?
Yes. I get to carry Zero around with me, but we've got LED lights going in him, so he kind of glows now, as he does in the movie. And then both Zero and the basket were late nights when I couldn't sleep, and I said, oh, you know what, let's make Zero for the costume.
I could do more. I can
do it. So.
Excellent. Well, you guys look amazing. Good luck out there.
So we're backstage at DragonCon with a Tim Burton penguin and a classic animated series, Harley Quinn, with a Joker hiding in the background because he's busy plotting his next. So if you would tell us your names and how long you've been doing this.
Kelsey McCarter. I've been sewing since I was 8 years old, and I've been doing cosplay since 2010.
Dave Collier or Oswald Cobblepot, depending on your point of view, for far too long for a grown man.
And is this the character you focused on the most, or have you gone through a variety of them?
Oh, I am Harley Quinn at DragonCon, or Dr. Quinzel.
She's had so many head injuries, she is basically Harley.
And what is it that you like about DragonCon in particular?
It's just such a great community. You really have a fan base that's just, you can find something at DragonCon. There's something for everyone at DragonCon.
I love the intensity of it. It just doesn't stop. If you want to be partying at 4 a.m., there's a party for you. I don't get much sleep during the DragonCon weekend. It's great. It's so awesome.
What proportion of the roughly 4 days would you say you spend in costume?
100.
All of them.
So basically, now Tuesday is the new Thursday, Wednesday is the new Friday. Yeah, so it's not a 4-day con anymore, it's a week.
And how long would you say you worked on these specific costumes that you're wearing?
It probably took about a week. It's all 4-way stretch, so, there's a lot of lines you got to make sure are right.
That's a really hard question because my costumes are sort of evolutionary things. So this is probably about Mark 19B of the Penguin.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
So we're looking at basically a black box here, but I'm assuming someone's inside it.
Yes.
Who are you, and tell us about this costume?
I am the Monolith from Stanley Kubrick's 2001 A Space Odyssey.
So for our audience, describe exactly what this is.
All right. It's just a big black box. It's rectangular shaped, 3 panels on one side and a fabric in the front that I can see out of, but no one can see in.
So there's got to be people who just think they're standing next to an inanimate object, right?
Oh, yeah. People will come up and just decide to chill right in front of me and use their cell phone because they think I'm like a pillar that's not going anywhere.
How has it been walking around DragonCon in this?
It's been quite fun. It's turned into kind of a sort of a sociological experiment on the side as a bonus because nobody knows what to think of you or what you are. About 20% of people get it right and then have to tell their friends, so it's kind of an educational thing going on.
Well, I just watched you on stage, and I don't know if you could see it from out there, but you got a standing ovation.
What, really?
People were going nuts. Absolutely nuts.
Yeah, I couldn't see that, the standing part. That's great.
No, standing ovation. People absolutely loved it.
Well, that's great. I want to thank the host for interacting with me and making it even better. Yeah, that was awesome.
Cool. I don't know how much you could see, but I think he was flinging some poop at you.
That's great. That's perfect.
Good stuff. Thanks again for chatting with us.
No problem. Thank you.
What's your name?
JD.
We saw you and your friends down here all waving manically, so we decided to come down here and join you, but now I find out this is something you've done for a long time.
Yeah, we do this every year on Sunday night at Con, and we just wave at the elevators on this bank of the Marriott. Oh, so it's a set of 4 elevators that come down in the center of this gigantic atrium space, and so you can see them for several floors, and we just sit on one floor.
And what type of reactions do you guys normally get?
We always try to keep track of the reactions we get. It's usually a lot of queen waves, a lot of blown kisses, a lot of the double hand waves. We get the occasional butt flashes or moons, kilt flips. Yeah, it's just wholesome fun, just a way of kind of upping the energy of Con for the last night.
Do you know everyone here, or have you had people join you over the years?
There's a core group of us who always come, and over the years, some people just know that we're always here on Sunday night, and so they come by, and some people see us and want to join in, and so we always end up with a bigger crowd than we started with.
We're going to make this part of our Sunday night routine now, too.
Yay!
I absolutely love that. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
We actually got a few great episodes from DragonCon last year. Another one was Jim Henson's Creature Shop Challenge puppet making competition. It was phenomenal, and here's our episode that we created on that. This happened during DragonCon 2018, and they have different tracks at DragonCon. Once again, DragonCon is a pop culture, sci-fi, crazy costume convention that happens Labor Day weekend in Atlanta, Georgia, our hometown. We love it very, very much.
Yes, indeed.
And last year when we went, they did something that they've never done before. One of the tracks that they have is called the puppetry track. This past year, they were lucky enough to hook up with the Jim Henson Corporation.
Oh, wow.
I know, like the biggest of the big.
That's the name.
Yep. So Jim Henson's Creature Shop Challenge was a television show, a reality television show on the Sci-Fi Network back in 2014.
Okay.
So picture like something like Project Runway, where there's talented people coming together. They have challenges each week, and they're creating creatures and puppets.
Oh,
and
wow.
It's an elimination thing. It was a really, really cool show.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. So what they decided to do for DragonCon was Jim Henson's Creature Shop Challenge Live. And they put a call out for amateur puppet makers, and they got to meet with a panel of judges, and the judges are amazing in this. But the way that they set up this contest was people had to come with a fully made creature, and they didn't tell them what topic or what theme they were looking for until about 26 days before. So they did not have much time to build these.
Okay.
And when they finally sent out the qualifying letter, they told them that their creatures needed to fit into the world of Farscape. Are you familiar with Farscape?
I should be more familiar with it as a sci-fi nerd, but I know it somewhat, and I've watched some of it.
It was a good one. It has a lot of creatures in it.
Yes,
it is a Jim Henson production, and it is totally, totally sci-fi. It was on from 1999 till 2003, also on the Sci-Fi Network. I had never really watched it before either, but after seeing this competition live, Sean and I came home, and he immediately bought the DVDs.
Oh, yeah?
And we just kind of plowed through them, and
Nice.
there's just some beautiful, beautiful work in there.
Yeah, I remember the creatures being pretty amazing in that.
Yes,
Yeah.
very, very much so. So that's the main backdrop of this specific competition is everything needs to fit into the world of Farscape, and they really wanted people to develop a backstory for their creature.
Okay. So it's more than just designing and coming up with this great idea for a creature. You have to have the story behind it and be able to make it look real and have a personality and all that.
All of it.
Whew,
right?
All right.
So to set the scene for you, we are in one of the smaller conference rooms at one of the hotels that's hosting DragonCon. The 3 judges are set up at a table with a screen in front of them. And then on the other side of the screen, there's like 5 to 10 people running around with their puppets waiting to be seen by the judges. And then after the judges see each of them, there's going to be a live performance for everyone at DragonCon where they're going to judge them in front of everyone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. To start out, I went to the room where they were meeting with the judges for the first time, and I myself got to meet the judges.
Oh, super cool.
My name's Kirk Thatcher, and I worked with the Henson Company for the last 30-odd years. I was a creature designer, and I was a judge on the Jim Henson creature design contest, so I guess that's why they have me here. And I helped develop Farscape, so I'm uniquely suited for this, yeah.
Absolutely. And so when you were a judge on the TV show and then for this competition, what do you guys look for?
Well, it's probably a couple categories. One is just originality, like the design, what's the creature, what is the story of this creature, because that informs what it looks like. And then also the craftsmanship, how it's built, what it's built of, and the verisimilitude of something looking real, because it's not a Muppet. It's a Farscape thing, so it has to have a more creature shop look to it. So I think those are the things, at least, I'll be looking for.
That's great.
Thank you.
I'm Brian Henson. I'm a judge of this contest. I was a producer of the original TV series. So this is our live Creature Shop Challenge, where we have basically contestants who are going to show us their creatures that have been inspired by the world of Farscape, which is one of the worlds that we created. And yes, we are the panel of judges.
That's fantastic. And so what are you looking for today?
I put a lot of emphasis on the concept, generally, right from the get-go. How original is the concept? Obviously, if somebody does like a replica of a character from Farscape, I can still be very impressed with that, but what I'm hoping for is to see that they took the world of Farscape and then they came up with an original design concept for a creature. On top of that, then it'll be the craftsmanship. If they've been sculpting, how good is their sculpting? Painting, how good is their painting? How careful is it? How careful are the details? And then for the character to come to life, that's actually that's probably the trickiest part, is how sort of convincingly does it come to life? And do I believe it as a character? I think we've also told them that they have to have an element of mechanical element to their creatures, which is always that little extra bit that is really hard. So like an artist is sometimes quite not comfortable, but understands the challenge of fabricating a creature and the sculpting and the various finishes, the artistic finishes. But when you tell them they have to add a mechanical element to the creature, that's often that extra stretch that makes the difference between what we call an all-rounder creature builder and somebody that's more specialized. The TV show and this contest is testing all-rounders, people who individually can do all the disciplines, and they're very rare, but I'm expecting to be impressed.
Very
Sure.
My name is Hallie Stanford, and I'm the president of Jim Henson Television, and I'm a judge on this Farscape Creature Shop Live Challenge.
And what do you look for specifically?
Well, I come at it from a very different point of view. I come at it from a fan point of view, and also what makes me sort of believe that that character is a living and breathing creature. Like, it doesn't have to look realistically accurate, but there should be something in the way that it's built and designed that makes me believe that there's an intimacy there, that I the audience, am participating in the magic that it's alive. So it's very obvious when a particular builder has that gift to bring that type of creature to life. So that's what I'm looking for.
And so this live competition today is based off of Creature Shop Challenge. Can you take a second to describe that for our audience?
You know, like, I can tell you about the series Creature Shop Live, but really you have two of the judges here, with Brian Henson and Kirk Thatcher, so I feel like you're going to get a lot more perspective on how this will be just like it and the experience that they have. But from my point of view, is taking the spirit of the show, of Creature Shop Live, and bringing it here into a fan convention, which it's a lot of fun. It's a fun model to do it that way, but in terms of how it's like exactly the show, I would ask these two guys right here.
So you wanted me to tell you about the original show?
Yeah, and just have you done live versions before?
No. This is the first time we've done this, other than the TV series. The idea of the TV series was something that a long time ago we were thinking, well, what could we do in reality TV since we are the fantasy company? So initially you would say, well, we're exactly the last company to do anything in reality TV. But we centered on two basic skill sets that are pretty extraordinary and quite rare. One is the puppeteers, and the puppeteers who perform characters. It's a rare skill to be very good at it. But the other one that in many ways is more impressive, although they're both impressive, is what we call the all-rounder creature designer builder, the one who can design it, draw it, conceive it, build it, do all the mechanizing. And there's only been a few in the world even that have worked for our company. So we were thinking, if we could basically search the world and see if there are more all-rounders out there with really good skill sets, it would be a very impressive TV show and a very inspiring TV show, particularly to budding artists. So that was the show, and we did work with 12. How many did we start with? 12, Kirk? 12 all-rounder artists, and they were all fantastic. And then we worked down, by the time we were down to the last three, they were all so good. And we did hire the winner, but honestly, we could have hired all three. They were great.
How do you envision the competition today breaking down?
Well, I hope it doesn't break down. If it does, it's my fault. Usually, yeah. But you'll laugh because it'll be hilarious. I guess what we usually do is we have them come in and we ask them questions like basic ones like, what's your character? What planet is it from? What's your backstory? Like I said, the story is always important. And then find out how they made it, why they made it, just kind of general interview questions about their logic and their thinking and the creativity behind it, both conceptual and actually how they made it, which is always intriguing. Yeah.
And they might come with, we gave them it was a wider brief than we would have ever done in the TV show. In the series, we would give them a really tight assignment every episode because they were going to go over and over and over. With this one, it was broader. We may see puppets. We may see self-standing creatures at the end of cables. I don't know what we're going to see, frankly.
It's kind of exciting in that respect.
But the fact that they've had more time, in the show, they only ever had 2 to 5 days. Mind you, they had 2 to 5 days in a fully outfitted professional workshop with all the materials you could possibly want for in the world, and even some experts to help them choose materials and stuff like that. I don't know exactly how the structure is going to work. We're going to be a little bit loose with it because it's a more intimate environment than a television studio. But we're going to give each contestant time to present what they've done, and we're going to look at it and question them on it.
Those things will factor into who wins. Because it's not like, the most professional thing that we walked into. Like on the show, we even had stricter rules about what would consider, because we got down to times. One time we debated 45 minutes which one. Well, not so much the winner, it was always who would have to kick off, because they're all, especially after the second half of the series, they're all really good, and then So that's what's tough is like, what's our criteria for this? Because it's pretty open, like you said. So I think it makes our job harder.
Yeah, this one is going to be hard. Indeed. It's going to be hard.
That is incredible.
All right, can we just pause and can I just gloat that I got to meet Brian Henson?
I know. Yeah, we all grew up.
Son of Henson.
Yeah, we grew up watching Jim Henson, so
pretty
and
amazing.
that was formative years, like watching the Muppets and everything.
Yeah, really, really big deal. But that is the most impressive panel of judges I have personally ever met.
Right. So I have two questions.
Yeah.
One is these aren't repeat competitors, right? These aren't any of the people who were on the show. These are net new people.
Nope. These are just people who heard about it happening at DragonCon and filled out a form.
That's incredible.
Right.
I guess my second question isn't a question.
What is it?
I really want to know who won. I'm very like what did they do? What did they make?
What happened?
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to meet some of the competitors right now. But first, I forgot to tell you what they're competing for.
Oh, yeah.
The prize on this is, I know it, they win an all-expense paid trip to go to Jim Henson's Creature Shop, either the one in LA or the one in New York, their choice. And they get a tour and get to spend the day there and meet everyone.
Wow.
And yeah, it's a pretty cool prize.
Any jobs involved with that?
Who could say?
Who can say? Is that foreshadowing or we just don't know?
No. That was the main prize of the television show.
Right.
But for this, I think the main prize is just to get to go there and be around it all.
So cool.
Yeah. So let's meet some of these competitors.
Let's do it.
Oh, I should tell you, while I was talking to the competitors, the judges were meeting with them one at a time behind that curtain. So that's why we're whispering.
Okay. All right.
My name is Adam Kowalski from Asheville, North Carolina, and the puppet I made for the competitions, his name is Dregs, and he's just a stuck, angry, bitter bartender at the Wormhole Bar and Grill.
And how did you get inspired for him?
Honestly, I'm a bartender myself, and I have to deal with the scum of the earth at my busy bar that I work in. And so it really just drew a lot of parallels from myself, honestly.
That's awesome. Have you ever made a puppet before?
Yeah, this is Dregs is my 8th build that I've ever done.
Have you ever competed before?
No, this is my first time. Yeah.
I didn't even know there were competitions.
Yeah, it's news to me, man.
Well, congratulations on getting into the show. I can't wait to see you out there.
Thanks.
My name's Kendall Bailey. I'm from Sydney, Australia, and the creature I have made is a Scarron Pilot hybrid. So he's got the little chameleon eyes like Pilot does, and the sort of very broad, flat head like Pilot, but then he's got a little Scarron nose and a Scarron mouth. My little creature has a really long tail with some little tentacly legs at the other end. And then his mouth has a servo motor in it, which I can control remotely with a Bluetooth app on my phone. I also put some lights into my creature as well, just because I really like things that light up.
That's awesome. Have you ever made a puppet before?
I've been a massive fan of the Creature Shop, just Jim Henson's Creature Shop, since I was really, really young. My earliest memories of things that I was obsessed with on television were The Dark Crystal and Labyrinth, and The Storyteller was a big influence on me. I remember being probably like 8 or 9 and watching The Storyteller and just being like, I want to make that puppet. I want to make mechanical puppet robots. The moment I saw there was this competition, I just really wanted to be part of it.
It's a beautiful puppet. Congratulations for getting in the show.
I'm Sylvie Kessler, and my puppet is like a dragon that's made of like rocks and stuff.
Absolutely gorgeous. So since this is audio, we're going to take a little second and describe him. How long is he altogether? Do you know?
Altogether, just a little bit more than my arm lengths, basically.
Very, very impressive. And what material is he made out of?
It's fox rabbit fur and EVA foam and green foam and just a whole bunch of other stuff.
And how did you get his eyes to move? They're so beautiful.
Oh, that's Christmas ornaments. Then I just cut 2 of them in half, and that's the eyelids, and I just have a little mechanism in there.
And have you ever built a puppet before?
This is my first one.
What an amazing first one. So I'm guessing this is your first competition, too?
It is.
Are you nervous?
I just did it, and I was really nervous.
They're cool judges, right? That's an impressive panel.
They are. I thought I was going to faint, to be honest. So I'm a little bit of a panic attack.
I totally understand. Well, I'll give you some space so you can get ready for the show. Thank you.
I'm Dan Ballard, and this is Jefferson Souza. He is a half gray, half dinosaur hybrid made by the mad scientist Namtar.
Why did a mad scientist make him?
It's the mad DNA scientist from Farscape episode, I believe it's episode 11 or 9.
Beautiful puppet. Have you ever made one before?
I've been making puppets since I was 4 years old.
Oh, I love hearing that. Have you ever competed in this realm before?
Yes. I've done it so many times, good and bad. I mean, I'm second generation puppeteer.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time and good luck today.
Well, thank you. Have a good one.
My name is Jordan Warhaven. I'm 25 years old from Athens, Georgia, and this is Grub. He's from the Traskin Society. He kind of dabbles in some healing, but he mostly just collects like shiny things. He collects keys and crystals or glass, or tries to sell them even though they're not worth much, but he surely likes them.
He looks wise. Is he wise?
Yeah, he's experienced some stuff.
Have you ever built a puppet before?
Yes, I used to make them, and back when I worked at a daycare, I would perform with the kids and teach with the kids and stuff, and yeah.
Have you ever competed before?
Never. I have never competed before.
Are you nervous?
Yeah. It's like a mixture of like excitement and terror.
Well, I think you're going to do great. It's a beautiful puppet, and congratulations for getting in the show.
Thank you so much.
That is so great. I wish I could see these dudes.
I know. They were so sweet. And we do have pictures on RoShamBoPodcast.com.
That's right.
Yeah. So everyone that we talked to, actually, there's a wonderful picture of them. And I can't wait for you guys to see the creations that these people made. They were so talented.
Did you get an idea of how long it took them to make these?
I think every person that joined me on mic had taken the full amount of time that they were given.
Okay.
Yeah, which I think was 26 days.
Yeah, wow.
Not much.
Not much. No.
You know, considering it's not their jobs, they probably go to school or have a full-time job and,
right.
you know, labor of love like this podcast.
Yeah, and like the one contestant had a Bluetooth app to control it.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. That is Kendall.
Okay.
Kendall is also, get ready for this, a forensic pathologist.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Very, very smart lady. Yeah. So she found time, spare time that she had, because I'm sure she's got a ton of spare time.
Right.
To build this amazing puppet. And I think her backstory to go along with her puppet really, really impressed the judges.
Okay.
Because she won.
The winner, Creature Shop Challenge Live, is Kendall. Kendall, baby, all the way from Australia. Really so impressed. Well, first of all, it's so Farscape. The character is so Farscape, but this little creature, the fact that you took two well-known characters but created a completely new, different one is terrific. And I love little details like the controller looks like a prop from a Peacekeeper prop. So it just all works so nicely. It's such a cool theatrical statement that you make, but really beautiful. Like everything looks finished. You're camera ready. You're ready to go on the show.
Yeah. And she built it in Australia, so it's all upside down.
So, Kendall, by special invitation, we are inviting you to either creature shop of your choice, either New York or Los Angeles.
But you have to swim.
So we want to take you out and have a look through our shop and meet everybody. And the fact that you're a forensic scientist by day, I find delightful.
Yeah. Forensic pathologist, amazing.
Really, really fantastic work. Really great. That's it.
That's it.
Congratulations on winning.
Thank you. There was some really cute, interesting puppets with really great mechanisms and great personalities. So yeah, I'm actually quite surprised. Yes.
What you've created is so special.
Thank you.
Do you ever see yourself pursuing a career in puppetry?
Possibly. I'd love to. At the moment, I'm a forensic pathologist. I'm a medical doctor, and I love my day job, I really do, but there'll probably be a time in the future where maybe I want a fun retirement job that's, maybe not as stressful as what I do. So I'd love to maybe, keep the option open to be able to do this in the future, or maybe take a working vacation where I can go and make some puppets and then go back to my day job.
Oh my gosh, she's one of those people.
Yeah.
Just so impressive. A little slack-jawed about Kendall.
Yeah. Way to go, Kendall. I'm not even sure what a forensic pathologist is, but it sounds pretty damn impressive.
Yeah. When I was trying to look her up online to learn a little more about her, I came across some news articles that she was in being quoted for like the person that they would call to the stand to testify at a trial when someone was murdered, to explain things about the crime scene in a scientific way.
Okay. Well, all right.
All you true crime podcast people out there are probably like, girl, you do not know this language.
This is not true crime at all.
But long story short, Kendall, very, very impressive. She won. And I know with all of the contestants, they kind of got into the Farscape land a lot when they were explaining their puppets. So I do encourage everyone to go check out Farscape, check out Jim Henson's Creature Shop Challenge. There is a lot of beauty and joy to get from both of those shows.
Yeah, and we both grew up watching puppets, but never have thought too much about all the work that goes into it, the artistry, the story behind it. That's pretty incredible. Are they going to do this again next year at DragonCon?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I did get the feeling it was kind of a one-off, but it was very well received.
Yeah.
So
is there a big crowd watching it?
At least 1,000 people.
Oh, wow.
And everyone was really into it, and I wish I could have played more of the actual live contest, but people were applauding so much. That's really all you hear in the audio. It's just like constant yeah, woo, which can be a little jarring on the ears after a while.
Right.
So I want to take a second and thank Hallie Stanford, Brian
Henson,
Kirk Thatcher, Sylvie, Jordan, Dan, Kendall, and Adam for taking the time to talk to us. You guys together ended up putting on a great show, and all of your participation was just phenomenal.
Yeah, good work, guys.
And then last up for you in our DragonCon recap is Robot Battles. It takes place on Monday and Sunday at DragonCon, so plenty of time to go put that on your schedule. It is absolutely amazing, and here's our story from last year. Robot Battles takes place each year as part of the DragonCon conference that we covered in one of our bonus episodes. And DragonCon, if you don't know already, is a gathering of pop culture enthusiasts from all around the world. It takes place in our hometown of Atlanta, Georgia, every Labor Day weekend. It's super duper fun. And on 2 of the days, they host a competition called Robot Battles, and it's phenomenal.
Right.
We went down there. We got to see both days of tournaments. We met a ton of builders, fighters, drivers, engineers, robot enthusiasts from around the country. And we got to meet in person the man responsible for starting Robot Battles,
Kelly Lockhart.
Well, my name is Kelly Lockhart, and I founded Robot Battles all the way back in 1991. Quick story of a long thing is I had been in Denver in 1990 at Mile High Con, and there was a group there called the Denver Mad Scientists who did an event called the Critter Crunch, where they took little robots on tethers and fought them. And I said, this is really cool. So I talked to them, I got the rules, I brought it back to Atlanta, I talked to the organizers of DragonCon, and they said, sounds fun, let's do it. And we did. We had 2 robots show up.
May I ask why in the beginning you wanted to be affiliated with a convention? What was the thought behind that?
Well, it just made sense. I'd gone to DragonCon for several years. It was a fun event. It was one of those things. It was geeky, and there wasn't a lot of things going on then like you have now. We didn't have maker fairs. We didn't have maker groups. We didn't have all the other stuff there. As a matter of fact, the only robot competition at the time was the Critter Crunch. We're the second oldest one in the world, and we came from them.
Very cool. So how did that first one go with your 2 competitors?
Well, the funny thing is that one was a team from Georgia Tech, the other one was a team from University of Georgia, And they fought each other until one of them just could not move anymore. And the team from Georgia beat the team from Georgia Tech. Little embarrassing in your own backyard to lose to Georgia. That's a little bit of a rivalry there, not just in football.
Understood. Did you guys get an audience that first year?
The amazing thing was, and if you've seen a modern Robot Battles event, it's kind of hard to imagine. This was in the old Hilton before it was remodeled, in the basement where we just had concrete floor, no PA, no stage, nothing. We drew a circle in chalk on the floor and had a couple hundred people show up to watch what was going on. It was basically an indoor street fight, and everybody thought it was really cool. So they said, we got to do this again, and I promise I'll bring a robot. And we're thinking, we might actually be onto something.
And so you have kept Robot Battles in Atlanta with DragonCon ever since.
That is the DragonCon Robot Battles event. We kind of refer to it as like our Super Bowl, our World Cup, our whatever you want to call it. It's the biggest event we do of the year, and we do multiple events a year. We've done almost 70 competitions since 1991. We've done them all over the country. Even did one in Barcelona, Spain, working with the local university there. Robotic combat has become very, very popular now because of things like BattleBots and shows like Robot Wars and Robotica, and then organizations like FIRST, which I absolutely love FIRST. There's a whole world out there now for people to get involved. The barrier to entry is much, much lower than it was, say, 25 years ago. But some of the key things that hold true no matter what era is think your design, understand your design, practice driving. If you watch the people on BattleBots, and by the way, if you come to Robot Battles, you'll see a lot of really familiar faces because a good number of Robot Battles contestants also compete in BattleBots. Some of them very well, as a matter of fact. So you'll see a lot of familiar faces. But what you notice is no matter how cool or interesting the design of the robot is, the successful ones are the ones that know how to drive it.
Yeah, I remember noticing that at the competition.
Absolutely.
They could get flipped over and stay in the ring. They could get knocked around and still come back. And yeah,
I think that's age-old advice because even back to childhood, my brother and I had remote control cars, and they were equally built, but I could not drive one to save my life, and he would always just run me over and push me into a wall.
Those are probably the days when a remote control car would go forward and then back, reverse, right.
Yes.
They're a little more advanced these days with the robots, but there's still only those, 4 directions. Forward, backwards, left, right,
That's true. Yeah. Although we did see a couple of robots that were so incredibly engineered, they made it so if they were flipped over, they could ride upside down.
Right.
That was one of the most mind-blowing things.
And also, the driving on that is amazing. You got to flip your brain over, like, oh, this is upside down, I got to drive backwards now.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that.
I would think so. Huh. Yeah. But yes, the engineering is outstanding on these.
And there's not too many rules going into this competition. They try to keep it simple.
We keep things as simple as possible, because it doesn't need to be all that complicated. Build a robot, fight a robot, have fun, and that's it.
I love it.
We have 4 weight classes to break it down. 1 and 3 pounders, which we fight in an arena. They're known as the insect classes because we call them ants and beetles. It's a small arena. It's about 8 by 8. Lexan, good, solid, so nothing's flying all over the place. Now, 1 and 3 pounders may not seem like a lot. I mean, how destructive can a 1-pound robot be? Don't kid yourself. These things can be really, really destructive because in the arena matches, they have active weapons. They can have spinning saw blades and things like that. So you get a lot of mechanical mayhem and destruction. And then we have the 12 and the 30-pounders, but they fight sumo. They actually are on an open stage. And, the whole premise is to knock your opponent off the stage. In the case of smaller robots, it's to knock them into the push-out or break them enough so they can't move, which is actually pretty exciting. And it moves lightning fast because we have so many bots so that there's a fight going on in this arena, that's over, and I turn to the next one and say, all right, 1, 2, 3, fight, back and forth. It's just gladiator combat, which we've been doing since the dawn of mankind. We just do it with robots now. The robots change, but a lot of the people stay the same because they really like it. Here's the secret about Robot Battles. We don't have any big cash prizes. We don't have a big nut We don't have a $4 million arena. We just do this for fun because we like it. Some people play golf. We fight robots.
How do ages break down? Can someone who's 9 be fighting someone who's 40? Is there any class of age going on?
Okay, it's funny you mention that because we don't have an age limit. Now, if you're 16 or under, you have to have a parent or guardian with you, and that's just for safety reasons. You don't want a 6-year-old running around with a soldering iron.
Sure.
But they can compete. We have had contestants as young as 6 years old compete. We have had twice, an 8-year-old win one of the tournaments. We are very, very supportive of youngsters getting involved in this because, well, quite frankly, we're nerds. We like science. We like engineering. We want to pass on that love to the next generation. And if you're a smart kid and you're bored by school, because it happens, engineering and science seem kind of, well, then you start doing this. First of all, you're learning mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, materials engineering, and guess what? It's really cool. So we've had kids that have come up and have gone on to have very successful careers in academia, very successful careers in industry, very successful careers with organizations like NASA, because they got this spark. They got interested in science and engineering when they were, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, and it instilled a lifelong love of it. Their parents are also very happy because their kids went on to have very good careers and get a good education.
What a great, fun way to learn science and technology and build things. And, you learn, hey, this is fun and cool to do science.
Absolutely. And one of those inspired youngsters, now 19, but he actually started when he was 11.
Ben Hansen.
We have to remind everybody, this took place at DragonCon.
Right.
So, of course, there's fancy dress involved.
Of course, everywhere.
Costuming is a big part of DragonCon, and our young friend Ben Hansen was dressed as Where's Waldo.
Oh, this is Waldo? I just knew him as Waldo.
Yep, and Where's Waldo was very appropriate as a costume for him because during a lot of the competition, people were looking for him.
All right, well, my name is Ben Hansen. I'm from Team Wedgie. This robot is Whizzlefutz because I let my dad name it. And if this is a very... Oh, boy. Are we on deck now?
All right, do your thing. Like Kelly mentioned, it does move really, really fast. He is wrangling a ton of people, and we were not helping.
We were not, but they were very sweet to us. So they made fun of us, which is good.
It's
they
true.
Picked on us. Yeah,
they'll hear that. So Kelly was looking for Ben because it was actually his turn to compete. But once he was done, he came back, and we got a chance to chat some more.
Here's Waldo.
This robot here we got when I was... we got this when I was 11, and I fought it pretty much in the same scenario. I'm 19 now, and the parts from this robot are early 2000s. So this is by far the longest competing robot. This is the robot that's won the most Robot Battles events ever, because we showed up with it year after year. We went on a 2-year winning streak with it. I didn't want to put it in today, but I'm not disappointed. We made it to the semis. It's called Wedgie because I was 11. Honestly, I didn't want to fight it today. All of my robots weren't finished. So this right here, I'm honestly surprised this lived because it's just like this little piece of aluminum like foil almost. I have no idea why it's doing so well.
Tell me about how you started building with your dad. Like you said, you were 11. What got you into it?
So honestly, my dad asked me. He said, "Hey, my friend Steve Chapman, who used to be a heavyweight in this, he's trying to sell some robots. He thinks he said that you'd really like it to get you into engineering." He was right about that. But at the time, I maybe watched a couple BattleBots when I was 2 years old. I really didn't remember it all that well. It was like, you want to fight robots, and I was just kind of like, why not? Sounds like fun. So I showed up 2010. Got my first tournament. Honestly, thought I was going to lose. My mom was like, "It's okay if you don't do well. It's all right. Go up there. Don't look at the audience." So I got in there. I actually won because it was their first fight too. That was awesome. So from that moment onward, when we did that well, I was like, "All right, let's go." And if you talk to anyone who knew me between 11 through 14, I didn't shut up about this.
That's adorable.
You liked his imitation of his mom?
I like that, but I also like that he didn't shut up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty enthusiastic at that age.
Right. Yeah. I'm buddies with an 11-year-old, and I could imagine him getting super stoked on this.
You're buddies with an 11-year-old.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
our
Travis.
friend Carrie and Dan's child.
I'm his special friend.
Oh.
I had a special friend's day, and it was adorable.
That's so sweet. Travis is a really, really cool kid.
Yes.
All right. So one of the things that Ben mentioned, he used the phrase, I think, I didn't want to fight any of my robots. Nothing was ready.
Uh-huh.
That was something that we noticed when we were walking around, I guess you would call it the pit, was everybody's constantly working
Right.
and repairing their robots.
Right. Like I try to interview a couple people, and they're like, I can't right now. Yeah. I'm up next.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I think
exactly.
everything is always broken all the time.
Yeah, and because they're fighting them in one round, they get smashed up, and then they have to fight them again like 15 minutes later.
Right.
So,
which is how you learn to fix things. It's that's
totally.
amazing. Yeah.
Under a lot of pressure. All right, so let's recap how Ben ended up doing. This is day one. This is the beetles and ants, the insect class, as you would, 1 pound and 3 pound.
The little guys.
Yep. His 3 pound beetle Wedgie ended the day doing pretty good. He got into the semifinals, but his 1 pound ant robot Whizzlefutz, the one his dad named, made it to the final round, but he did not claim victory. That honor actually went to Matthew Tompkins.
Matthew had an amazing day. He also found himself in the Beetle Championship with his robot Nautiloid.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Robot Battles 66 Beetleweight Tournament Championship. 1, 2, 3, fight!
It's like a grinding wheel mounted on the robot. It's pretty vicious when it makes contact.
This is much more brutal than I thought it would be.
Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Tompkins.
My name is Matthew Tompkins. I'm part of Team Rad Robotics, and I just won the Beetle final.
And?
Oh, and the Ant final. Amazing. Yeah. The big one, the 3 pound, is called Nautiloid, and then the 1 pound, its name is Vertex. I call it Baby Nautiloid for the events, though. The 3 pound one is about 8 inches wide by 5 inches long. It has a 3/4 pound piece of steel for the weapon, and it spins vertically, so it can launch them into the sky. Yeah, first time I won a match, let alone the whole thing. I started out 2 years ago at DragonCon. My first robot lost in the first round. It got stuck on a bouncy ball that was inside the other robot. My second year, I lost to Captain Doom, which was driven by a really excellent driver. He's really young, too. I don't feel sad losing to him. And then this year was the first time I ever won a match at DragonCon, so I'm pretty pumped.
That's awesome. 2 years in, he's already winning. That's pretty great.
Yeah, and never having even won a match before.
Right. Wow, what a good day.
I know. 2018 Ant and Beetle champion, Matthew Tompkins.
Woohoo!
So that ended day one. We went back the next day for the hobby weights and featherweights, technically the 12 and 30 pound robots.
Oh, nice. The big boys.
Yes, and we met more contestants than you could shake a remote control at.
That was a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah, they were all incredibly nice and talented and busy.
Oh my gosh, so busy.
Yeah, and we're going to talk to Kelly again. He knows this community very well.
The other thing that I really, really like about Robot Battles is our contestants really work well with each other. There is a great camaraderie, a great esprit de corps during the competition. Yeah, everybody wants to win, but everybody wants to win against the best, basically. So if something's broken and you can help somebody fix it, that's what happens. If you're at an event and you look over at the pits, you'll see somebody working on a bot, and you'll see like 5 people standing around them helping. They're not from that person's team. They all help each other.
That's awesome.
Wish we had more of that in America. Working together to solve problems.
Yes. Ted Ledoux. Platform launching tomorrow. Reminds me of the kinetic races.
Right, for sure.
Another, heavily engineered competition. And I think when you have that many moving parts,
Yeah.
people want to help each other, just like Kelly said, because they want to compete with the best.
Right.
They don't want to win because somebody else's robot was broken.
Right. Like the 24-hour lemons as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
They want to compete with the worst.
So on our second day there during the hobbyweight and featherweight championships, Ted and I ran around, and boy, oh boy, did we meet a lot of people.
We did. They were all great, and they were all willing to talk to us. Some were nervous, some were not. They were all pretty busy. You had to kind of find a slot where you can jump in and interview them real quick.
And we tried our best.
What are your names?
Tom Steeper. Greg Von Beck.
And what are you guys doing here today?
Fighting robots.
And how did you guys get into it?
We saw it in here at DragonCon and obviously on TV with BattleBots, and we thought we could do that.
Finally, we're like, got to build a robot.
It's made out of billet aluminum, welded together, and it's a 12-pound weight class. And
it's a lifter bot. Got an arm that you can drive into somebody, get it underneath them, and then pick them up and hopefully flip them off the stage. Didn't go so well today. But
how'd you guys do?
We made it to the semifinals technically, and we lost in our second round.
Can you describe the different types of robots? You have a lifter bot.
So there's pusher bots, which is what we lost to. They're just heavy, strong, go forward fast, and then a couple of people have some kind of random stuff, but those are the two main ones. Well, there's the wedge bots too. In the 12-bound, which is just kind of a triangle with two wheels on it. Drive it up underneath somebody and hope to shove them off the side.
Is there anyone that wins the most?
Well, the wedge bots are super effective. Unfortunately, our stage at this competition is pretty rough, so it limits them quite a bit. But typically, wedge bots are boring and effective.
Right.
So I'm David Purcell. I'm with two teams. One team is Maid Service, which is just my Roomba that I got 10 years ago that we enter in the competitions. The other team is Sea and Biology. Sometimes I call it Borg Petting Zoo. It's basically a couple robots we built that are kind of animal themed. Like one's a beaver, one has not really a distinct animal, it's like kind of furry with eyes. I've got a couple others at home that are a lobster and a cow.
And on that team, what materials do you lean towards?
So our robots are primarily made out of what's called structural fiberglass or fiberglass reinforced plastic. It's the same material they use in like aircraft. So it's good for this kind of tournament because it's much lighter than metals and it doesn't bend, so they don't bend out of shape. The only downside is when you cut it, you get fiberglass all over yourself.
Are these 12 or 30 pounders?
So the Furbot and the Roomba are 12-pounders. The Beaver is a 30-pounder.
Do these larger robots also have weapons on them?
So they can have weapons on them, but the arena is open. So the weapons have a very strict limit on how fast they can spin because they don't want to... if you saw in yesterday, there's shrapnel everywhere.
Amazing. We just kept imagining, like, how are the big robots going to do this without killing someone?
Yeah, so that's why you'll see on, like, BattleBots, they've got that bulletproof glass box. Here, because it's open, they limit the weapon speed and basically make sure your weapons can't throw projectiles at the audience. There's also a barrier of tables that we set up to keep the robots from running over ankles.
Very smart. So the Roomba idea is adorable. How did that come in?
So when we were building all the regular robots, we also bought my mom a Roomba, and she told us continuously, you cannot fight the Roomba with the regular robots. And so we never did. She kept telling us not to. And then I moved out, and they weren't using the Roomba, so I asked, can I have the Roomba? And she said, yes, as long as you don't enter it in the fights. So I entered it in the fights. It actually won the Rumble at MomoCon, which is all the robots in the arena at once, because it was the only one that didn't drive itself out.
That's amazing, because it didn't have a driver.
Exactly.
Phenomenal.
I work with that dude.
What?
Yeah, the Beaver and Furbot guy.
You do?
Yeah. I noticed him on stage, and I was like, oh, wait, I know that dude. He's a software developer.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And have you talked to him at work since seeing him compete?
I did. I was like, dude, I saw you last week competing in robots at DragonCon. He's like, oh, yeah. We talked about it for a little bit. He remembers you interviewing him and all that stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he's a good dude. When he mentioned Roombas, it reminded me of the Roomba battle we have every day at my house. It's the Roomba versus my dog.
Really?
Yeah, the Roomba wins every time because Ollie just goes and hides.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, he's 95 pounds and the Roomba is, I guess, 12 pounds if it's in these battles.
He just gets scared.
He's just like, nope, I'm out of here.
Oh my gosh. So we have 2 cats and we have a Roomba as well. We have a lifelong fantasy of one of the cats getting on the Roomba.
Right. It's a lot to it. Lots to live up to.
Yeah, we've tried even putting treats on it
Uh-huh.
before. They're not having it. All right, back to the floor.
What's your name?
I'm Joe.
Have you done this before?
This is my third year doing it.
Okay. And what are you fighting with today?
Fighting with Bugzilla, 30-pound bot.
Aha. Can you describe Bugzilla to me?
Bugzilla is a mixture of a toolbox, some balloons, and a toy, all at the point taped together now because it's already been fighting once.
Yeah? How'd you do?
I ended up losing, but...
Oh, yeah? You fighting again today?
We're going to be fighting in the Rumble when they put all the robots together.
All right. How did you get into this?
Just saw it one year at DragonCon and wanted to do it, so next year I came back, I brought a robot.
Well, good luck in the Rumble.
My name's Eric Oppenheimer. My team name this year is Space Force. And my bot is even more Squeaky Ducks, because I have a few more than last year.
All right, so what is your history with the Squeaky Ducks?
I had to do something funny. Every year I got to add something to it to make it stand out and get the audience attention, really.
Do you feel like you're a fan favorite?
Last year, I think I had a real good audience reception, yeah. Yeah.
So tell me about the mechanics.
I've kept it really simple, really cheap, because I didn't want to put a lot of money in something that could easily get destroyed in the matter of minutes. I did real simple Harbor Freight drill motors, 2-speed controllers, and it's a wood box, and 3D printed parts. So I went against a similar box-shaped robot that was very evenly matched, and he ended up beating me. So.
Do you get to fight again today?
I'm hoping there'll be a rumble at the end with all the bots on the stage. And last year I ended up was successful, and somehow I was the last one standing during the rumble. So maybe that'll go better for me again this year.
Can you describe to me what the rubber ducky guy was like?
The person?
The robot. I know what people look like generally. I can usually spot them.
Oh, mercy. So it was cool. It was pretty much a square 4 wheels. I'm going to say that's probably obvious, but just in case, you never know. And then it just had like a ton of little rubber duckies all over it. And he had other robots too. I think he also competed in the insect weights with ones that had like maybe just like one big rubber duck on it. But
cool.
He's definitely got a theme going.
I wonder if they squeak when they get hit. That'd be awesome.
Oh my gosh, that would be awesome. If you would start out by telling me your name and then a little bit about your team and your robot.
John Tamplin. Team is Plastic Fantastic Robots because my robot's made pretty much all out of plastic.
Is that unusual?
Most people are building it out of some sort of metal, but I don't have a machine shop. I have woodworking tools which work with plastic.
How does the plastic hold up?
It's pretty strong. I just need more of it to get the same sturdiness. So I have a larger bot, but it's similarly sturdy.
So tell me what happened in your 30-pound battle.
Up against Ben's dad, I think it was his first time driving.
Ben's father.
Right. So he has a much larger bot with big rubber tires on it. And the first time we were pushing against each other, and then I drove off the back of the stage. And then next time for the second fall, it wasn't turning to the right very well. And so I was really a disadvantage there.
How often do you have to fix them?
Well, in this category, it's not very destructive. So usually it's something came apart or a wire came loose, something like that.
Well, thank you, and I wish you best of luck next time.
Thanks.
What is your name?
Rob Dillard.
Can you describe your robots to me?
The 12-pounder is called Served Cold. It's referred to as a tray bot. So you can see it kind of looks, well, you can see it, nobody else can. It looks like a large serving tray or dustpan.
Okay.
So the object is to get our opponents up on there, high center them on the little ridges we got built onto it, and that's the plan and strategy for that robot. The 30-pound robot is called Dandelion's Revenge. It is, in fact, an old lawnmower frame.
Yeah, I can see that.
And we have, I'm not exactly sure what the toy was called, a popcorn toy.
Right.
That I've actually motorized that, so it does pop.
Oh, cool.
And Dandelion's Revenge is just a pushy bot, really largely for her comedic value.
Right. Awesome. How have you done?
We lost right away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. We're sitting here. We're waiting for once they get the rest of the competition done, we're going to go in and do the rumble.
Name is Louis Baumstark. My team name is Double Oops. This is a 12-pounder. It's called Doom Service. It has 6 saws on it, and they sort of work. I've nicked some tires in the past, and it's zippy, so zippy I can't drive it very well, and we have fun with it.
How long have you been fighting this one?
This is the second year for this one.
Gotcha. And how did it do last year?
About the same. So I think both years I went out in the second round.
All right, and so that's for today. Tell me about the robot that got you out in the second round today.
It was covered in Furbot. So Furbot's a fan favorite, been around a while.
Well, sorry, this guy didn't hold up too well, but he looks like he didn't take too many beatings.
Yeah, it'll probably be around a while until the electronics burn out.
Well, my name's Matthew DeLuca. This is...
I'm Dominic.
We're Robot Mafia, and our robot is called Eyesore, which is named that way because of the eye-searing color, as you can tell.
I think it looks awesome. What is it made out of?
It's made mostly out of plastic. It's high-density polyethylene and aluminum for the arms. We made this in our basement.
And has it fought yet today?
We fought twice.
How'd it go?
Very well.
We won both rounds.
And what is it like controlling this guy?
It's very fast. The arm is kind of more like a stabber kind of thing rather than a lifter. It can push a lot. It's not that fast, but it has a lot of push power.
Well, I wish you guys the best of luck. Can you tell me just a little bit about when you started building and why?
Well, we started building a couple of years ago. We watched BattleBots on TV. We both enjoyed it greatly. So I think like a lot of people, that got us to thinking about this, and we started building this.
So this is your first build?
Yes, first time.
So my name is Phil Costanzo. It's Team Cerberus, and my robot is F-13. This robot normally was inspired by the Friday the 13th movie, so it used to have a machete on the back and would swing around and hit people with the machete. Open arena here, not really quite safe to do that. So I stuck a big obnoxious pool noodle on it.
So there's a machete under this pool noodle?
Not anymore. I had that thing fly at my head once in another fight, and I never wanted to experience that without an arena.
My name is Simon Arthur. I'm with Team Big Blue Saw, and this is our robot, Big Blue Saw presents Flipper.
Awesome.
Thank you. It's a 12-pound robot. The frame is made from water jet cut polycarbonate plastic. It's got a lifter that goes 360 degrees around the robot, and I've been competing here at Robot Battles since the mid-1990s.
Wow. And so has this one fought yet today?
It has indeed fought, yeah. We won our first match against Hypnus. This was Orion's first time driving, and he did an excellent job and was able to get us the victory.
Those are some amazing bots.
I really loved watching the competitions, but it wasn't quite over. We were almost ready for the championship rounds.
Right. One thing I loved about all those interviews is there's so many different ways to build the bots and so many different approaches and different materials, and some are just for fun, like a pool noodle. Like, that's not daunting.
Right,
you know?
But it used to be a machete.
Well, yeah. It's gone full circle.
Yes.
Is that the circle of life from machete to pool noodle?
Pool noodle, yeah. Rest in peace. All right, so on to the 12-pound championship. It's also called the Hobby Weights. Tell me your name, your team name, and then a little bit about your robot.
My name is Jameson Go. Our team name is G3 Robotics, and my robot is Tuscan Raider.
And what does Tuscan Raider work like?
Tuscan Raider works kind of like a weird scorpion in a way. It's got two electrical systems that work concurrently to actually have a 360-degree rotating lifting chassis.
Have you fought him before?
Yeah, he was here last year, and I think by luck, in my opinion, it managed to win, and hoping to defend the title.
Oh, that's fantastic. Do you compete with any other robots?
Today, no, but I do participate in the micro battle competition on Sundays as well.
How did it go for you this year?
This year, not as good. I mean, it's always really tough. The guys that go here build some really creative things, and the pit where you can get knocked out of is always a big challenge for us.
I think they might need you.
Yeah, I'm getting called.
What was the name of that podcast again?
RoShamBo.
RoShamBo. Episode coming in November, all about robot battles.
That's true.
That podcast.
That one.
Getting called out. That's amazing. Thanks for the shout out, Kelly.
Yes, and sorry, Kelly. We know we were slowing things down a bit, but we still think you do an amazing job of wrangling everyone. That is a huge crowd to control.
A lot of mechanical cats to wrangle.
All right, so then Jameson left us and went on to participate in the 12-pound championship, and guess what?
He won.
That's right.
All right. We must be good luck.
Congratulations. That was pretty quick.
Yeah, I think my opponent just happened to be the right size to fit right between the jaws. Don't always get so lucky. So these are just static. The top ones are actually just static, so when we're able to lift him up, it actually captures his frame with the top and kind of just holds it in there. It cradles it very nicely.
It seemed very sturdy. I thought you were actually clamping down on it. Very impressive. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
2018 champion. Woo!
Woo!
I love
Jameson
this
go.
woo. At the end, go Jameson go.
Well, so what's up next? The 30-pounders?
Yep. So after that was the final big championship round. It was the 30-pounders. They also called them featherweights, which is strange to me.
That's probably some joke we don't get.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Probably. But guess who the winner was?
Me.
No.
Waldo. Ben Hansen.
Yes, Ben Hansen. He fought a 30-pound robot called Styx and came out victorious.
All right. Congrats on your win. Which division did you win?
I won the 30-pound or featherweight class.
Did it go as you expected?
It went a lot better, actually. So my 12-pound robot isn't, or I know you were asking about the 30-pound, but I was in both classes. My 12-pound robot, here we ended up losing to the winner, Jameson Go. He's such an amazing driver. It was a good hard-fought match. But in the 30-pound, honestly didn't have a whole lot of expectations going into this because I haven't had a whole lot of drive practice time, mostly due to like real-life things leading up to the event. I'm extremely happy that not only that I did well, but the rest of my team did well. We basically just said we got my dad to drive. This is the first event he was driving at. We got someone who was walking right by us, John Briggs. He was fighting in the 3-pound class yesterday. We said, hey, do you have a 30? He said no. So we gave him one of those, and all three of us made it to the semis.
Is there anything after this? Is there any sort of national championship or anything that you could go to?
So as far as tournaments go on the East Coast for sumo events, this is really the cream de la cream. This is about as high as you can get. So a win here is a very big deal.
And what did you get for winning?
I just got a plaque. It's what Robot Battles usually gives out. It's basically a piece of paper and a frame, and the piece of paper goes in the frame and it just says, "Hey, you won this." It's not value-wise worth a whole lot, but just like being able to, especially like my first tournament win in 2010, just looking up at that thing, I've stared at it nights on end. So getting that, like, it's not worth a lot, but it
means a lot to you. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Awesome. All right. Good work out there today. Thanks a lot.
Aw.
Yeah, he was super nice.
Very well spoken. Can't believe he's only 19.
Right.
Very, very impressive, and seems to be quite the staple of this community.
Right. And it was fun watching him on stage with Kelly, the announcer, and the other. There's a young competitor he went against, and he was kind of guiding him a little bit, and there was banter on stage.
Yeah.
Totally a community.
So one thing that we kind of breezed by, we mentioned that this is at DragonCon, so of course there's costumes and fancy dress, but we didn't actually call Kelly, the founder, organizer, out on his history with fancy dress.
Aha.
I don't do it as much as I used to, but I used to dress up pretty outrageously every year. And it all started back in about 95 when I slept through my alarm and I realized, oh goodness, I got to get down to the ballroom like now. So I just threw on a pair of jeans, a pair of combat boots, and a robe and a T-shirt. And I came down there and everybody was looking at me like, you look like Arthur Dent. And I realized I was basically dressed like Arthur Dent from Hitchhiker, so I kind of played up with it. And the next year, I just came in costume, and it became kind of signature. And I mean, I can't even remember half the things I've done. I know a lot of them were pretty dumb, pretty stupid, but that was kind of the fun of it. I mean, the Roman centurion, I remember that. I dressed as a Civil War general. I dressed as like a total hippie. I wore a tuxedo once. I've come out there looking like a refugee from Studio 54 back during the disco era.
Nice.
There's one that I have no idea what it was, but everybody thought it looked like what would happen if Willy Wonka and Weird Al Yankovic had collided somehow and became one. There's been all sorts of... I came dressed as a referee once. I even had the yellow flag and the whistle.
Nice.
They really got annoyed with me on the whistle, by the way. I'm not allowed to use that again. But things change, and now when I go out there, sometimes I dress up. Sometimes I'm just out there the way I normally dress, which is in a really obnoxious Hawaiian shirt and a lab coat.
All right.
Because I'm a mad scientist.
So if you were to encourage people to come and watch, is there a specific battle that would be best for a first-timer to come see?
Yes, all of them.
Yes, all of them. I like that.
Every single one.
Every single one.
So next year, this is worth buying a day pass to DragonCon, even if for some reason, which I I wouldn't understand why DragonCon wouldn't be your thing. But even if it wasn't, I would encourage you guys to buy a day pass just to go see the robot battles.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun and made you want to do it, of course, as all our little events do.
This one seemed more a little bit out of my reach.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them. A lot of them seem out of my reach.
But this one especially so, because there might be math involved.
Yeah, a little more math, a
Yeah.
little more engineering,
Yeah.
nothing that I truly, truly embrace.
Well, you do have a dream of a cat on a Roomba, so that's That's the spark of a robot.
Hey, if anybody out there has ever gotten their cat to ride a Roomba and you have a suggestion for me of how I can get Pumpkin or Squeaky to make this happen, please send it our way. RoShamBo@gmail.com.
Right.
We'll send you a Cadillac Jones record.
Yes.
Speaking of Cadillac Jones, we want to thank them for letting us use their music in this podcast. We very much appreciate you guys. And if you ever see Cadillac Jones come into your town, check them out.
Yeah, they rock. We love them.
We also want to take a minute to thank everyone that we spoke to.
Kelly and Ben and Matthew and Jameson.
And Tom and Greg and Rob Dillard and Joe and Dave.
And Eric and John and Lewis.
And Phil and Simon. And gosh, if we forgot anyone, I apologize. But we really had a blast talking to all of you guys.
Yeah, thanks for letting us into your little community. You guys are very cool and sweet, and we had a lot of fun.
And if you guys want to learn more about Robot Battles, go and check out their website. It is robotbattles.com.
Sneaky. You can buy t-shirts.
Yeah, they have a fun little merch place. They have a link to their YouTube channel, which we highly recommend checking out. You can see every battle that we got to see at the 2018 DragonCon Robot Battles.
There's links on how to build a bot. There's a community there. There's links to all their good stuff.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Till next time, people.
Goodbye. Rubber Ducky, you're the one.
Oh my God.
You make robot battles so much fun.